Hello, I am on here again. I'm gonna keep my promise that I'm gonna get on here and talk at least 4 times. This will be my third video about sexual assault awareness, and part 2 I talked about exposure dysfunction and coping in a healthy manner. This week I'm going to talk about, for part 3, what do you do when your victimizer was a victim too? Yeah. What do you do when your victimizer was a victim too? What do you do when somebody that has harmed you was harmed as well? 9 times out of 10, the person that hurt you grew up in that same situation or identical or similar to that. And what happens is, when we are younger, or if we grew up in like something that was kind of dysfunctional, we learn how to adapt to it. We learn how to adapt to it, and a lot of people get that confused with they are healed. No, you're not healed. You just learn how to adapt to dysfunction. And how do you know if you learn how to adapt to dysfunction? Because unintentionally you attract dysfunctional people. So now the question is, how do you break the cycle? How are you aware of what you're attracting? Or even if you're the person that's hurting people and don't even know it. And it don't have to be in the same, it could be a lot of categories, like sexual, physical, mental, verbal, all of that stuff. And so what happens is we get stuck in this cycle, and the victimizer 9 times out of 10 was a victim and is a victim too. They just never dealt with the issue. And it goes back to what I was talking about part 2, when I talked about exposure, dysfunction, and coping in a healthy manner. First of all, it's so critical that you find out the hidden things that's going on internally inside of you, because nobody really know unless you look into yourself and find out what is going on with me. What do I need to do better to make me a better person? Especially if you done been through things. 2, you have to figure out the dysfunctional part of it, because just because we grew up in it, and we learn how to adapt to it, especially when you was a child, you was more than likely forced, because you're a child, so you was forced to adapt to dysfunction. But it don't necessarily mean that when you become an adult, that's what your life will turn into. You know, you have to make that choice to be real and honest with yourself about things that you know is going on inside of you. So what do you do when a victimizer is a victim too? Well, first you're going to have to ask yourself, could I potentially be a victimizer? Because if you never healed from the issue, or if you don't even think something is going on with you, you can cause like issues and unintentionally not even know it. You can think it's nothing, like, oh, it's nothing. Nothing's wrong with me. I'm good. You know, I got it going on. I'm making money. I'm doing me. I got this going on. But no, your whole life is dysfunctional. So the question is, what do you do when your victimizer is a victim too? That's deep, because so many people always talk about generational curses, generational cycles, and we need to pray it off, and we do need to pray it off, but also we need to be realistically, you got to put in the work. And sometimes when you put in the work, it costs a lot of people don't like what they're not comfortable with. A lot of people don't like change because it's so uncomfortable, but it's necessary. Some people would rather sit in dysfunction because they're comfortable with it. That's all they know. That's all they grew up in. That's all they saw their mama do. That's all they saw their dad do. Their aunties, their grandma, everybody lived in it. But it takes that one person be like, this not finna be my life. I refuse. I'm not doing this. So when I talk about this, I want people to take the time to think about, what do you do when the victimizer was the victim too? And ask yourself, if you've been through anything traumatic, did you ever really genuinely heal from it? And could I potentially be a victimizer because I never healed, and unintentionally I think that I'm healing, but I'm showing my kids how to live in dysfunction too, how to be in a dysfunctional relationship too, how to adapt to it? It's something to think about. And it's something to really consider when it's time when you get tired of living in that. When you genuinely get tired and you want to be honest with yourself, you get tired of it, trying to pretend like everything good and it ain't. When you struggling and you got a war with inside of you, and everybody think you got it together, but you really don't. When you get tired, you need to start going back to the core of what's triggering you to respond or react or do the things that you do. I hope this word could be encouraging and helpful to somebody. Have a blessed day.